Welcome back to Project Sunday. Well, it's a very cold day here, so I have a kitty. I'm not sure if he's looking for love or looking for body heat at this point, but I have a project for you today, and I stole something from him in order to do the project. So I think he's feeling a little threatened and vulnerable today. The project is some Barbie dolls that I picked up when I was at Bedford. So when we get back, we're going to take a look at this. Well, first of all, you haven't seen the filming from when I was at Bedford. And so I'm going to show this to you first. I do want to let you know I had to re-record the sound. This was done on the day when they were doing some sort of carpentry work. I was hearing power tools going off. And even though I thought I was going to be able to talk over it, didn't happen, so the sound was really problematic. So I just sort of redid it for you so that you could get some sense of what was going on. So let's start by taking a look at the video I took at Bedford before I even purchased the item. Here you go. So the last time I was at Bedford, I came across this. This is a double Barbie case, and it's loaded with stuff. The case itself is in fair condition. As you can see, there are tears in the corners, but it's not too bad. Usually these cases are in much, much worse condition. Now, as we take a look at what's in here, the top doll was a Ken. Now, this Ken is a number 2 Ken. You can tell from that plastic molded hair. The number 1 Kens had flocked hair. Next up, we've got a Skipper, and the Skipper is filthy, but she's actually in good condition. Nobody cut her hair. Her fingers and toes are in good shape. She'll clean up just fine. Skipper and Ken, neither one of them are worth a great deal, but, you know, we got them, we're going to deal with it. Barbie. This is a number 6 Barbie. She's got the chubbier face and a more pinky peachy lipstick. She's also got serious green ear. That is a major problem, one of the worst problems you face with older Barbies, but we can fix that. So, Barbie, not so bad. Now there's another problem. Notice how that leg is bowing in. It's really distorted. Again, this is a super easy fix. So we're going to sort of save that for a project. Now, as we look at the rest of this, we're seeing a Tressie. Tressie is a Barbie clone doll from the mid-60s. This in particular is a makeup Tressie. Now, the gimmick about Tressie was that her hair grew. There was a shank of hair that wound in and out of the doll's head, and there's a little button on her belly that will control this. This one, not too bad. Makeup Tressies are usually in much worse shape than this. Her worst problem is her hair looks like a Brillo pad. But again, we can fix doll hair. The clothing she's wearing, that's a clone piece. Most of this is mommy made. There's that button that controls her hair. As far as the clothing goes, most of this is simply going to be thrown away. There is a market for clone clothing, but mommy-made stuff like this is worthless. Oh wait, we've got a cute little accessory here. somewhere in this mommy made mess. Oh, there it is, the little camera. Um, just because the stuff is cute doesn't mean there's any kind of market for it. The stand is a Ken stand. It's bent, but that can be fixed. There is a totally separate market for doll stands. You can sell a stand with a doll. You can sell it independently. They will sell. Ken stands, not so much as Barbie stands, but still market for it. I would have to say that against a sale price of $40, this is a good deal. So for $40, even though it's out of my price range, it's not out of my field of expertise. So I had no problem with this. The doll case probably would go for maybe $20, 30 tops. It's not in super condition. It's not in lousy condition either, but cases do not sell. Keep that in mind. If you find a Barbie case, unless it's a rare case, and there are a couple of rare ones, ordinarily I wouldn't bother with it. Other cases, however, will sell. For example, that double Barbie case, I said $20. If it were a Miss Suzette case in fair to good condition, you're talking easily twice that. I would say a Miss Suzette case in perfect condition would probably go for over $100. So some doll cases sell, some do not. In general, the Barbie cases do not. And a lot of people will see them and say, oh, it's a Barbie case. Isn't this great? Because Barbie's hot. Barbie, yes. Cases, no. And some of the dolls in this case are just not really very valuable. The Ken and the Skipper are probably somewhere between $30 and $50 each. And mind you, they're in very good condition. These are excellent dolls. But in the Barbie line, the doll that sells is Barbie. It's just the way it is. Nevertheless, knowing that the case could go for at least $20 and the Skipper and the Ken can do at least that much again, I knew going in I could double my money on this just on those items. The clothing. Now, there was a lot of clothing in there, and I know nobody's going to like to hear this. Mommy-made clothing does not sell. I do not care how wonderfully Grandma crocheted or how neatly Mom sewed. They don't sell, period. The only thing I've ever been able to use mommy-made clothing for is occasionally, if I find a really interesting piece, I can put it on a doll that I'm offering for sale. That's about it. These things do not sell. Every mommy-made piece in that case, I threw in the trash. And like I say, I know you're not going to want to hear that, but it's of no value. And even if I decided to throw it in the case, 9 times out of 10, when I was selling the case, the buyer would say, will you please toss the clothes out to reduce the shipping weight for me, because they're not even worth the extra 50 cents it would take to ship them. It's just the way the market is. So once we have all this stuff, the issue is the dolls. So what we did today was we did cleaning on 3 of the dolls, and I want to show you that. And we did this super easy repair on Barbie. And because this is not as uncommon as you might think, yes, the Barbie's leg is bent. That's not really common. But what is common is older dolls with problematic stances. In other words, the legs are not straight up and down the way they should be. They're splayed out a little to the side, or they're too close together. You can alter the stance of a doll so easily, and you're going to see how to do that in today's video. The other issue we have with Barbie is she has a massive case of green ear. Worst problem you can have with a Barbie doll. So, what we're going to do, actually, no, it's the second worst problem. I think a neck split is the worst problem. Green ear really can be fixed. A neck split, no hope. So, we're going to take that project on later. There's a way to do it. I'm going to show you how. I'm going to tell you what you need to do that. But for today, we're cleaning the dolls, prepping them for sale, and we are fixing Barbie's legs. So, let's just go right in and take a look. I filmed that whole process for you. So here are the 4 dolls that came out of that Barbie case. And we're going to take a close-up look at all 4 of them. We're going to do it one at a time. So let's start with our little Skipper here. Skipper is in good condition. She's dirty and needs to be cleaned, but her hair hasn't been cut. Overall, it's in good shape. I'm going to wash it and deal with it anyway, but it's good shape overall. Her face, she still has very good face makeup. There's very little in the way of rubbing on this. I think we can help those bangs lay flat a little better. Fingers and toes are all intact, so this doll's in good shape. Now, Skippers don't sell for very much. She is definitely not the most expensive doll in this purchase. But the fact that she's not going to be any work and she's pretty much going to be saleable, as is with a little bit of cleaning, that's good news. So let's take a look at Ken next. Now, this is a number 2 Ken. Now, we don't ordinarily refer to Ken dolls by number the way we do with Barbies, but this is the second iteration of Ken. The first Ken doll had a flocked head. He didn't have this sort of preformed flat top crew cut, and he had flocking. It was just little bits of fiber glued to his head. Very often that rubs off over the years. It's possible to replace it. It's not a very difficult procedure, but I think they did a little better when they went over to this plastic hair. Weird looking, but hey, state of the art for 1963. Now, Ken is dirty, but he is also in good shape. Fingers, toes. Ken was far less likely to get heavily damaged than Barbie, mostly because as a male doll, his fingers, even his thumb, they're much fatter, much harder to break off. Barbie tended to get more damage. This Ken has very good face paint. Doesn't look like there's very much rubbing at all. Ken, like Skipper, is not worth very much. So the fact that these 2 dolls are in pretty good shape, well, it's good news, but it's not great news. Now let's move over to this doll. This is a makeup Tressie. Now, Tressie was a doll made by the Ideal Company. She was a Barbie competitor, and her gimmick was this hair. This is this giant, fat strand of hair that grew. You push a button and, the hair would release. You put a little key in the back and you can wind it back up and the hair retracts. We're leaving it out for a moment because, quite frankly, this hair actually feels as bad as it looks, and this looks bad. So we're going to have to do a lot of work on this hair to get it presentable again. And then probably when we do, I'm probably just going to wind it all back in before I style it. The gimmick with the makeup tresses, in addition to the hair, and this is something regular Tressie had, was you could paint makeup on her. They had little removable makeups that you could just, you could put eyeshadow or lipstick or whatever. And of course, the little children who own these dolls would make the doll look very clownish. It was just, I don't know what they were thinking. But when they took the makeup off, and by they I mean the little child who put it on, they would scrub it, and very often scrub off the underlying makeup. This is the makeup the factory put on. And it was not, well, they didn't do a great job. These are called Barbie clone dolls because they were made in imitation of Barbie. They didn't have the same quality construction. They didn't have the same quality paints. They were definitely lesser dolls. No two ways around it. And so when we clean this doll up, I'm going to have to take special care on her face because I don't want her to lose any more makeup than necessary. So her biggest problem is the hair is a mess, the makeup, well, some of the makeup is missing, the face is a bit of a mess, and we're dirty, but we have another issue over here. Let's see if you can see, there we go. She's got a dent in the back of her shoulder. Now that sort of thing didn't happen to Barbie, it couldn't happen to Barbie. This is thin plastic, it's hollow. So, yeah, you could just pinch some of these dolls and leave dents like this. We are going to fix that as well. So, oh, geez, before I forget, this is a bed leg doll. Now, I've got Julia here because, remember Julia, we cleaned her up last time we did a doll project. Julia is a bed leg doll by Mattel. So let's just, there is a plastic piece in here and one in here and a joint at the knee. So the doll knee bends and locks in 3 positions. The way this clone doll was made is there is a wire running from the hip all the way down to the foot. And you just bend the doll's leg by bending the doll's leg. And of course, you can bend it anywhere along the doll's legs. So the legs often got quite distorted. Often the little wires inside broke. These were cheap dolls, and they didn't use the high quality construction that Mattel used. So, problematic, but we are going to straighten out her legs and get them cleaned up. Now, let me set Julia aside because she's already been taken care of. Now let's look at number 4. And number 4 is our Barbie. This Barbie is a number 6. Now, ordinarily, Barbies do not go beyond number 5 in general. The reason I'm saying this is a number 6 doll, and people will recognize that, by the way, it's just not commonly done. She has a bit of a chubby face compared to the earlier dolls. Her lipstick is a sort of peachy pink rather than red. She's a bubble cut, and the ponytails only went 1 through 4. But it's really that chubby face that makes the difference. Other than that, this is the same body as the numbers 5, 7, and so on. This is a sort of early 60s body, if you will. Now, look at that mess, both sides. It comes from, here we are. It comes from this. This is the original earring. I just took it out of her ear, and this metal, the part that I'm holding in my hand, disagreed with the vinyl of the doll. They just did not get along at all, and the vinyl had a chemical reaction to the metal. Turns the doll's face green. This is one of the worst things that can happen to your doll, but it's fixable, and we are going to fix it. But we're probably not going to do that today. By the way, fixing green ear is a process. It doesn't happen in a day, but you can clean that up. What we can do, and hopefully we'll do today, is address this. Her leg is bent. It just sort of bows in, and that is a super easy fix. So, I'm going to get started on doll cleaning. All right, now these 3 dolls have been washed, scrubbed up. Skipper got her hair washed and combed out. Ken didn't need anything more than a good washing. Now, let me just show you how I dealt with Skipper's hair. This is a steel pet comb. In fact, I think you can see Hearts is the name. My cat loves this as far as he's concerned. Getting combed with a steel comb is like having somebody just scratch his back. So, I borrowed Audie's comb, started at the bottom, is right down here, and worked my way up. That's how you should always comb doll hair, and in fact, that's how you should comb human hair to minimize breakage. Start low and then work your way up. Now, Skipper, her hair will dry out. It will fall nicely. I don't need to do anything more with her or with Ken. But when we come over here to make up Tressie, she had a lot of issues in the cleaning. She has a scratch here. Now, I got most of the dirt off, so I minimized the look of that scratch, but still, it's there, and it's discolored. She also has a discoloration right here, and we're going to be able to deal with that later. Her hair is going to end up sitting in a capful of fabric softener. The reason for that is this is a synthetic fabric. It's not hair. Never was, never going to be. So you treat it like you would treat cloth. And that is with fabric softener. Now, I did this with the Julia doll, so you saw that already. I'm just going to slop her head right into the cap of fabric softener. And then I'll start combing it out. If that doesn't work, I also keep this. This is a dollar store spray-on detangler that I keep for doll hair because it actually will work. But I'm going to need to straighten out this mess. So, we will be back. Next up, we're going to take a look at Barbie's leg. Okay, I am not unaware of how strange this looks, but this is Barbie sitting in a vintage refrigerator glass. Now, these little refrigerator containers were very popular right up until they started replacing them with plastic. But she's sitting here, and I'm going to go and get some boiling water, And Barbie's going to have a very interesting little bath. I'll be back. So here is Barbie in her boiling water bath. And I'm going to let her sit in here for a minute or two. I'm using the boiling water to soften the vinyl of this crooked leg. That's the whole point of this. The refrigerator dish just happens to be the perfect size for this. But I don't know. I figure, why not use wonderful old refrigerator dishes instead of empty Cool Whip containers? So I keep them and I use them, and I really do use them for food storage in the refrigerator. I had to relocate some cheese in order to let Barbie use this. So we'll come back after she has cooked for a bit. Now I want to show you this very quickly. I just took Barbie out of her boiling water, and notice the bend got better already because the leg, once it got heated up, was able to sort of go back to its original position. Now, we're not through there. I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. All right, I just needed 2 hands to do this. This is just chopsticks. It's what I happen to have handy. I slipped that in between her legs, tied them off with a rubber band. This is the cat's rubber band. Notice the cat tooth marks there. So I borrowed Audie's rubber band, and we're going to let this cool off in this position. And that should be enough to straighten out the legs. Now, the reason I put this chopstick in the middle is because I don't want her legs like right up against one another. You want a little bit of space in there, and this will do it. Now, depending on how long that leg was in the bent position, she might have to go back into boiling water, and I might have to repeat this process. I don't think I will, but it's possible. I've never had to do this more than twice, no matter how bad the bend is. Twice will do it. Usually just once, but I wanted to make sure you got a chance to see this. And once she cools off, and that should only be about 5 or 10 minutes, I will undo her bandages and we'll take a look. So here are Barbie's legs now, and this is just after the first boiling and straightening. If I find that they are sliding, well, this one, sliding back into that curve, I'll just do it again and leave them tied up overnight. So I don't think it's going to be necessary, though. I think she's good to go right now. I did not clean Barbie yet, as I'm sure you can see from the condition of her legs, because that will come later. We are dealing with the other dolls now. So let's get on to the other dolls. So now here is our Tressie doll. Her hair is done up in that classic Tressie top knot that I guess somebody thought was fashionable back in the 60s. She still needs a little more work. I want to straighten out her legs and see if I can't do a little damage control on things like this scratch. But right now, this is a saleable doll. So that was our quick and easy used doll cleanup. So there you go. How easy was that? And remember, with Mattel dolls, and we have to separate the Mattel from the copycat dolls. With Mattel dolls, they were pretty well made to begin with. You really can dump a Mattel doll in boiling water and not have to worry about it. I wouldn't do that with other dolls unless I knew for sure they could take it, because you really can melt them. You can melt their hair. Their hair will turn into a pile of goop. It's just, but with Mattel, yes, you can stick the body and even the head in boiling water, and you're not going to have a bad situation at the end of the day. All right, so we are not entirely done with this purchase. We may take a look at cleaning the case, although I suspect that's the sort of thing you all know how to do anyway. If I'm wrong, and cleaning doll cases is something you want a project on, absolutely, we'll do it. Cleaning up Barbie's green ear, oh yeah, that's a project I've been looking forward to doing for a long time. So, I hope you enjoyed this one. Remember, go on over to the SueMe's Angels Facebook page, sign up for the giveaways, stick around for the company. Great group of ladies there. All right, so we will see you this evening. For those of you who follow the Just Chattin' series, for those of you who are just thrifting only, we will see you again next weekend. All right, have a terrific day.